inside the stomach of a sheep or a camel or a cattle and throw it on top of the head of the Holy Prophet of Islam. And there wasn't anyone apart from the family, apart from Fatima al-Zahra, apart from Ali ibn Abi Talib, his uncle Abu Talib. These individuals, they came and stood beside the Holy Prophet of Islam when he was propagating the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, let's take that example and see how Lady Fatima al-Zahra, salamullahi alayha, commented in her sermon about the tragedy of the death of the Holy Prophet of Islam and what actually happened after the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Fatima al-Zahra, salamullahi alayha, in her sermon says, وَأَكَدَتِ الْآمَالِ, which means that all hopes died away with the death and martyrdom of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. We had hopes, not a single hope, not 5 hopes or 10 hopes, no. All of the hopes, all of our ambitions, our hopes for the guidance of mankind, our hopes and our ambitions for the well-being of these people, because we were sent for the guidance of these people. But with the martyrdom of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, the seal of messengers, the one that was sent as a sign of mercy amongst the people of the world, with his demise, all the hopes and ambitions died away, and with it they were gone. And this is what Ahlul Bayt wished for. They wished that all humanity, from the beginning of time until the end of time, they will reach a state of guidance, guided towards the heavens, guided towards the paradise. And from amongst that purified progeny, amongst that purified family, was the sole existence of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein, Sayyid al-Shuhada, the master of martyrs, was described, as we hear continuously by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, إن الحسين مصباح الهدى وسفينة النجاة. Verily, Hussein is the lantern of guidance and the ark of salvation. حسين مني وأنا من حسين. Hussein is from me and I am from Hussein. So whatever the Holy Prophet of Islam had sacrificed for the sake of Islam, his grandson Abi Abdullah al-Hussein did the same. He stood on the plains of Karbala and he started speaking to the army of Bani Umayyah. And I confirm and I repeat the statement every day, because I want to remind you, brothers and sisters, that we, the Shia, the followers of Ahlul Bayt, our duty is to uphold and revive the message of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi. What did Abi Abdullah al-Hussein say to the army of Bani Umayyah? He said, Ya ala Abi Sufyan, in lam yakun lakum deen وَكُنْتُمْ لَا تَخَافُونَ الْمَعَادِ. In another statement, وَكُنْتُمْ لَا تُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْمَعَادِ فَكُونُوا, at least, what? كُونُوا أَحْرَارًا فِي دُنْيَاكُمْ. At least be free. Do not be captivated. Do not be captives to this world. Do not be slaves and servants to this world, to this low life. Why? Because a servant and a slave takes orders and follows the orders of his master. Basically, Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, was saying, "O people of Kufa, O people of Sham, Allah created you as free men, as free individuals. Why are you following the orders of these deviants, these corrupt individuals, these corrupt leaders? Because they will lead you to the hellfire, and I want you to follow me to the paradise and to the heavens." Here, Fatima al-Zahra, the holy mistress of the women of the world, the holy daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, comes and says that whatever occurred after the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam wiped away all of our hopes and ambitions. You might ask, after the Holy Prophet of Islam, there was Ali ibn Abi Talib, the commander and the successor of the Holy Prophet of Islam. There was Imam al-Hassan, there was Imam Hussein, there came the Imams after Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. There was still hope for the guidance of mankind. No, brothers and sisters. Of course, Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, they accomplished their responsibility. They did what they had to do, what was their responsibility and their duties towards humanity and mankind. But if the Muslims had held on to the advice and the command and the wishes of the Holy Prophet of Islam by withholding to the holy wasiyyah, the will of the Holy Prophet of Islam, who said in the last moments of his life, إني تارك فيكم الثقلين كتاب الله وعترتي أهل بيتي ما إن تمسكتم بهما لن تضلوا بعدي أبدا وإنهما لن يفترقا حتى يردا علي الحوض. O Muslims, I advise you, I leave behind with you the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and my progeny, my family. As long as you hold on tightly to these two precious and weighty items, you will never go astray. Which means that you will live a life of prosperity. You will live a life of happiness. There will no longer be a poor person. There will no longer be an individual that will sleep the night without a piece of bread to eat. All hopes died away when the Muslims turned their faces away from Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, the commander of the faithfuls and the believers. And the same practice was practiced and experienced against the rest of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. But only a small number of faithful individuals continued following Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. And today, in 1442 years after the Hijrah, after the migration of the Holy Prophet of Islam, here in 2020, in the holy city of Karbala and in the outskirts of the holy city of Karbala, we see how the Zuwar and the pilgrims of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein are making their way towards the holy shrine and towards the holy burial site of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, chanting and calling out and shouting, "Labbayka ya Hussein, Labbayka ya Sayyid al-Shuhada," and renewing their oath of allegiance towards his grandfather Rasulullah, towards his father Amir al-Mu'mineen, towards his mother Fatima Zahra, by saying, Abad wallah, Ya Zahra, ma ninsa Husseina, which means that we pay our allegiance and renew our allegiance, that we will not leave the path of guidance and salvation, the path of Hussein salamullahi alayhi. Every man, every woman, and every child that walks by feet or by their foot towards Karbala al-Muqaddasah, towards the shrine of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, is a representative, is a clear example of the guidance, of the salvation of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. Now, what is our responsibility? What is our role into guiding and continuing the role of guidance that was started by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, continued by Amir al-Mu'mineen, Fatima Zahra, al-Imam al-Hasan, al-Imam al-Hussein, and today the awaited Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman, al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan al-Mahdi, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif. He is the living representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the face of this earth. How and what is our responsibility towards guiding of humanity and supporting Imam Sahib al-Zaman in this process? By our akhlaq, by our ethics and morals. And when I say our ethics and morals, I mean the morals, the akhlaq that was practiced by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Not only we show our akhlaq and behavior by smiling into the face of every individual, no, but our akhlaq and our morals should be shown when someone is abusive towards us, when someone is speaking negatively against us. Here, Rasulullah, how did he react towards the mushrikeen, towards the idol worshippers of Quraysh and Arabia? They used to be abusive towards him. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib used to be cursed on top of 70 or 80,000 pulpits in Sham and around Sham for 8 years. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, he used to be cursed in the Friday prayers, during the Friday sermons. They used to curse Ali ibn Abi Talib, they used to curse Fatima Zahra. But how did Ali ibn Abi Talib react towards them? How did Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib react towards the Khawarij? He did not stop their financial support from Baytul Mal, although they were abusive towards Ali ibn Abi Talib, towards the progeny of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. But Amir al-Mu'mineen was the source of mercy. And the same with Abu Abdullah al-Hussein on the plains of Karbala. Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, until the last moments of his life, used to pray for the guidance of his people, used to pray for the guidance of the army of Bani Umayyah. But it was their akhlaq. The army of Bani Umayyah used to reply to the words and the statements and the sermons of Imam Hussein alayhi salam by pointing their arrows, directing their arrows towards the camp of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. But how did Abi Abdullah al-Hussein react towards them? Abi Abdullah al-Hussein told his companions, أكره أن أبدأهم بقتال. I do not wish to start the battle until the last moments. Abi Abdullah al-Hussein salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi withheld from starting the battle. And we, the Zuwar and the lovers of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, we should implement the akhlaq and the morals of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein towards our friends and family and our companions and our communities. If anyone would be abusive towards us, we should not repeat that abuse towards them. This is what we learn. This is how we are educated. This is our education. This is what we learn from Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. This is the behavior of the Zuwar of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. And in other terms, and vice versa, look at the behavior of the enemies of the Zuwar of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. They stopped them from coming to the ziyarah of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. They closed the borders in front of the face of the Zuwar of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. They banned the lovers, the Shia of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein from coming to the ziyarah of Arba'een and standing in front of the shrine of Imam al-Hussein, placing their hand on their hearts, crying and weeping, and their tears coming down their hearts and coming down their faces and their cheeks, and saying, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Peace be upon you, O son of Fatima, the son of that honorable lady that stood for the rights of Imamah. She called and she asked and she demanded that they return rights of her husband Ali ibn Abi Talib, which was Imamah. And the sole reason that she wanted Imamah was for the guidance of mankind. This is the message of Islam. This is what Islam calls its followers for. Peace and non-violence. Peaceful at all times. Propagate the message of Islam, which is the message of non-violence. We do not believe in violence. Whoever is violent is not of Islam. They are not following the Holy Prophet of Islam. They are not following the message of Islam, because Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, until the last moment, he advised and he ordered his companions to be peaceful with his enemies. Where in history can we see such a commander, a general, a leader standing on the battlefield with 30,000 soldiers wanting to kill and annihilate them, but he advises his soldiers to be peaceful and don't use violence against even the enemies. And these individuals were exceptional. Rasulullah was an exception. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he was an exception. And his son Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and Ali ibn al-Hussein and the rest of the Imams, they are an exception. And that's why the sha'air of Imam al-Hussein, the Hussein rituals, and the visitors of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, they are an exception. Whoever that walks on the path of Ya Hussein, the path of Mashayikh, the path of the foot pilgrims towards the shrine of Imam Hussein, they are an exception. We place them on our heads because they are the representation of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect every single one of you, the Zuwar of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, and to hasten the reappearance of Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, Jalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, and to accept our ziyarah and visitations, and to grant us the visitation of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam this Arba'een, and his intercession in the day of judgment. لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، ولبيك يا حسين.
Karbala, 40 days and counting.